A lot of the examples of game-based training that you'll find out there, including on this channel, are teaching things that are concrete, like identifying a bird or performing a medical procedure. These are all observable real-world behaviors that are pretty easy to simulate. But if you have to teach an abstract concept that's really theoretical, it can be hard to make that engaging and to gauge how well the learner is getting it. I get asked about this at least once a week, so in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to transform something abstract into a concrete, tangible game so that you can keep the learner active and make them figure out the theory on their own through direct experience. Okay, so the dry content I'm going to use in this example is the law of supply and demand. As demand for a product goes up, its price will go up as well, but if supply goes up, then the price will go down, and the ideal price is somewhere here at this crossroads. This is too dry to get your brain around, especially if it's new to you, so typically we'll use examples. So a lot more people want a recent iPhone than an old Nokia, so the iPhone costs more. Price goes up with higher demand. And a limited edition Air Jordan is hard to get because it's so rare, so it costs a lot more than a basic Converse that you can get anywhere. So with increasing supply, price goes down. So that makes sense when I say it, but I'm still not totally sure that the learners really understood it deeply enough that they can actually apply it. So instead of giving them the answer, I want to build a program that lets them assemble this whole thing in their minds through direct experience. And to do that, I'm going to create a game where the learner owns a movie theater. And based on factors like how many people want to see this movie, how many other theaters are showing the same movie, you're going to have to decide which movie to show and how much you can charge for tickets. So we're taking this abstract theory and we're bringing it down into a concrete context where we can actually see what the learner is doing. They can only perform optimally at this if they really understand supply and demand. So I've got my end goal. My next step is to break down the theory into its components, and I'm going to introduce each piece gradually, but at each stage I'm going to do two things: give the learner a simple goal to achieve and give them unlimited tries. So in the first set of levels, I'm only looking at demand. I'm just asking you which movie you want to show in your theater, assuming you want the biggest possible revenue. You have some indicators here for how much hype or buzz there is around each movie. So that's how many people want to see each movie. In other words, it's demand, and that's the only thing you're taking into account right now. So you pick the movie and then you see how much audience and revenue you got. Obviously at this stage, all you have to do is pick the movie with the biggest hype, which is super easy, but that's okay because these levels are also acting as a tutorial. So I have my simple goal, but for the unlimited tries, I've set this up so that every time you play this, it randomly generates 4 movies. I don't have to come up with a bunch of different scenarios. The hype numbers, the posters, and the titles are all automatically generated on the fly, which is how I get a lot of different combos. Some work surprisingly well, others not so much. But the point is, the learner can experiment with this as much as they need to until they get it. So once they get this right a few times and we celebrate, we're going to introduce the idea of price. In this set of levels, you still have to pick the movie with the biggest hype, but now I'm asking you to set the ideal price for it if you want to max out your revenue. I've set it up so that the more hype your movie has, the bigger your audience, but as you charge more, you lose people. If you charge less, you sell more tickets, but there's only 400 seats in your theater. So the game here is to find the sweet spot where you maximize your revenue with your 400 seats. But the user is always going to pick the hypest movie, so sometimes I'll want to force them to choose a movie that's not the most hyped one. So here, these movies require an IMAX theater, so I can't pick them and I have to pick this one with a hype of only 32. I'm doing that because I want to force the learner to think about what should happen to the price when the audience has better options than what they're offering. In that case, their best move is to lower their price. Play with that a few times until you understand how the price and the hype or demand affect each other. And then I'm going to introduce supply. So now there's going to be a number of other theaters that are showing the same movie as you, and so that's another factor that you have to account for in setting your ticket price. Again, here I start by isolating supply. So at first, all the movies have the same level of hype, so the only difference is how many people are showing it. And you learn that you're usually better off showing a movie that nobody else is. So if I choose this movie, I'll have exclusivity. In that case, the ideal price is $14 and I'll make over $2,000 at that price. But if I choose this movie that has the same hype but is showing in more places, then I can't even break $1,000 and I can charge a max of $10. If I charge anything more, then I start losing customers and revenue. That's the effect of more supply. Eventually, I'm going to reintroduce hype, and now you have to balance the two: hype or demand and supply. In some cases, like this one, you'll see that even when a movie has a little bit less hype, it's better to pick it because you'll have scarcity on your side. And again, there's unlimited scenarios here, and if your hype gets too low, then even if you're the only one showing it, you'll make more money with the blockbuster that everyone is showing because the demand for it is so high. And as always, the goal is to find that sweet spot. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to managing a movie theater than just the hype and the competition. If I really wanted to make a movie theater tycoon game, I could introduce things like the cost of showing different movies and the weather forecast, or investments like better seats and popcorn. But remember that my learning objective here is supply and demand, so I'm only playing with the essential relevant variables. So to recap, if you want to make an abstract theory more concrete, pick a real-world context where it applies directly, break your abstract theory down into its components, layer in each component gradually, isolating it as you introduce it, and at each step you want to give the learner a simple goal and unlimited tries. Between each try, you can give them specific pointers to help nudge them in the right direction, or just let the result play out like in real life and let that be the feedback. So if you feel like traditional e-learning isn't doing it for you and you want to quickly build hands-on training that engages learners and gets results, then let's talk and see if the effective gamification program is a good fit to help get you to the next level. So check that out in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.